I have a crush on my best friend's brother-in-law, Professor Ben Harrison. Late at night, I sent him a text message. Baby, you are so handsome. He replied with 2 words, keep it professional. After chasing for a month, this aloof male god did not move at all. In the second month, my best friend called and cried and said she wanted a divorce. I patted my chest and said, I will be there to accompany you right away. Then, I sent Ben a text message, old man, you are probably useless. Bye, I never want to see you again. That night, Ben blocked me in my room, and I cried and apologized. I messed up. He sneered, too late. My best friend Sarah Evans is a goddess. Rich, smart, educated, kind and generous. I often wish I were a man. A month ago, she married Matt Harrison, a big shot in the Washington social circle. As a bridesmaid, I cried my eyes out. I was the saddest person in the room, because to be honest, no one in the world was worthy of Sarah. Worse, she got married, which meant we might not see each other as often as before. Matt smiled at me smugly, with a victorious attitude. This guy is a famous playboy. When Sarah and Matt were dating, he and I were at loggerheads. I often made him angry. He was furious, but he couldn't get angry because of Sarah. On the wedding day, he said to me with a big smile on his face, okay, Taylor James, back off now. She's mine. You're a light bulb, be smart. I wanted to tear his head off. At this time, I saw a man who looked a bit like Matt walking towards us. This guy was tall and thin, with a calm and reserved temperament. Even Matt, the arrogant man, straightened his back and showed some respect. He called him brother. The man nodded and turned his eyes to me. Matt introduced, this is Taylor James, Sarah's best friend. This is my brother, Ben. Ben didn't say much, just nodded slightly at me. I stared at him, and suddenly an idea flashed. An idea came to me. At the wedding banquet, I sat next to Ben. I asked directly, are you single? My straightforwardness surprised him a little. Except for me, everyone else at the table was a relative of the groom. They all stared at me, a little surprised. Ben paused and replied, yes. Then let's exchange numbers. I pushed the QR code to him. He looked at me, probably because of the occasion, the presence of his family, and it was a wedding, he couldn't refuse. He scanned the code. I was so happy that I chatted with Ben all night. He was very polite and answered me in a cautious and formal tone. I knew he probably didn't want to talk to me, but it didn't matter. I had already set my sights on him. Ben is 5 years older than me. I was a little surprised when I found out he was a university professor. With his family background, I thought he would go into business or politics, but he chose academia. No wonder he has such an elegant temperament. Professor Harrison, you are so handsome. I have never seen such a charming man. Everyone at the table seemed to be frozen. I thought their reaction was strange, but my mind was all on Ben, so I didn't think much about it. I guess my straightforwardness scared them. Ben was drinking soup, and when he heard what I said, he looked directly at me. He just said, thank you for the compliment. It's not easy to chase a cold man. In order to win Ben and become a family with my bestie, I asked a friend who is an expert in love. She gave me 4 words, direct and bold. If you're shy with this kind of guy, you're done. You have to be direct. Quiet men like direct women. I took her advice and looked it up online. I saw a post about calling a man baby and it suddenly dawned on me. I was ready. I had a handsome target and I was unstoppable. I opened the chat window with Ben and sent a text message. Good night, baby. Ben, wrong person. Me, no, you're my only baby. Ben, Miss James, we're not dating or married. Please don't do this. I laughed like a fool. I liked his formality. Is this what it's like to be in a relationship with an older man? The chase is fun. Me, then date me and marry me. A long silence. Ben, Miss James, please respect yourself. I laughed out loud at the text message. This is great. Baby, I'm going to your class tomorrow. Ben didn't reply. From that day on, I started going to his lectures. He was wearing a suit, tie, and gold-rimmed glasses. He was handsome and restrained. Every move and every word he made was so charming. During the lecture, Ben asked a question. While everyone was thinking, I secretly sent him a text message. Baby, you are so handsome. Baby, your voice is so beautiful. Baby, let's go to dinner together after class. His phone vibrated. Ben glanced at the screen and then looked at me. I said baby silently. His eyes behind his glasses flickered. I saw Ben's slender fingers reaching for the black microphone. Then he called my name. Ms. James, you answer this question. That was the first time I heard him call my name. For some reason, my heart skipped a beat. I panicked. I was just a freeloader, not listening at all. I had no idea what he was talking about. He was just lecturing me. He wanted me to give up. No way. Everyone turned to see who Ben was calling. I stood up, looked him straight in the eye, and said loudly with a hint of mischief, baby, I don't know. The whole class was in uproar. Everyone was whispering. Ben's expression didn't change, but I saw his Adam's apple move. He just said calmly, sit down. He didn't mention that I called him baby, and continued teaching. Just like that, I became famous. Everyone in Ben's class knew that he had a fiancée who was always hanging around. I stopped hiding. I moved from the back row to the front row of the classroom. I looked him straight in the eye, but he never called me again. He was still so cold and distant. Ben was really hard to deal with. After chasing for a month, I was a little tired. Last time, I went to his lecture in a rainstorm and caught a cold. Today I feel terrible. I leaned my head on the table and fell asleep. When I woke up, I heard Ben calling my name. I raised my head. My mind was groggy. He touched my forehead and looked worried. You have a fever. He was about to withdraw his hand, but I grabbed him. I pressed my face against his hand and inside, so cool, so comfortable. Ben froze. His lips were tightly pursed. I was probably confused by the fever and thought he was my husband. With tears in my eyes, I said, "Baby, I feel so bad." Ben picked me up and took me out of the classroom. I was dazed. All I knew was that I was carried to his car. I hugged him so tightly that he had to call the driver. In the back seat, I clung to him like a koala. There were many red lights on the road, and the car kept stopping. I leaned against him for comfort. Ben's expression turned gloomy. He tried to push me away, but when he did, I touched something, grabbed a handful, and said, "Don't poke me." Ben was completely frozen. His breathing quickened. He covered my hand with his hand, his voice low and restrained. He tried to comfort me, saying, "Okay, let go." "No." I buried my face in his shoulder. Ben's voice was a little sharp. "Tyler James." I took the opportunity to say, "Will you be my man?" This time Ben couldn't bear it anymore. He pushed me away. Before this, he had been tolerating my nonsense. But this time, he was angry. He untied the belt around his waist and tied my moving hands. Then, with the hands that fascinated me, he pinched my chin. His tone was a warning. "If you don't calm down, I'll throw you out of the car." I looked at him, stunned, and the feverish confusion subsided slightly. I saw a familiar darkness in his eyes. It reminded me of someone. My uncle's son. I called him cousin. That guy did some shady things and had a dangerous aura. He tried to hide it in front of us, but there was still an unsettling temperament. I was always afraid of him. Ben squeezed my chin. He whispered, "Taylor, don't mess with me. Don't do it again. Not if you understand." I frowned in pain and nodded. Ben stared at me, then let go. He looked at my lips and frowned. He whispered, "You are such a drama queen." I knew that the place where his fingers touched must be red. For the rest of the journey, I was quiet. Then I passed out. I woke up in the hospital. My best friend Sarah was by my side. I hugged her and said exaggeratedly, "You are finally back from your honeymoon? You forgot me after you had a husband?" She just smiled and said, "Stop it. You have a fever of 40 degrees and you almost became a vegetable. You are still on 4, lie down." I lay down and looked around. Then, I said, "Wait, how did you know I was here?" "The person who sent you to the hospital called me." Sarah looked at me seriously. "How did you get involved with Matt's brother?" When she mentioned Ben's name, the scene in the car flashed through my mind. I blushed to my ears. Sarah was surprised. "Taylor, you are not in love with Matt's brother, are you?" I pulled the quilt over my face. I said in a muffled voice, "I want to be your sister-in-law. And Ben is so handsome and single, perfect." I explained my plan to pursue Ben. Sarah smiled. "Taylor, I'm touched that you care so much about me. But this is not a game. You have to marry the one you really love. I should have known that you were always chased by men, but you never paid attention to them. You always say that men are scumbags. Now you suddenly chase someone else? Or is it for me? You are like a child. Love is not like this." I argued. "Ben is so handsome. This is love. It is also desire. He always dresses so formally. I'm going crazy. I want to see him naked. His hands are my obsession. I want to bite them." I got more and more excited. At this time, someone knocked on the door. Matt stood at the door and smiled and gave me a thumbs up. Ben's expressionless, calm eyes fell on me and saw the panic in my eyes. I covered my face with the quilt. Originally, it was because my notebook was still in his car. He put down the notebook and left without saying a word. I kept hiding until he left. Matt came to pick up Sarah and sent me home. I finished the 4. In the car, Matt teased me. "Wow, you dare to chase my brother. But man, you are not his type at all. Give up." I don't like Matt, so I refuse to admit defeat. Whether I am his type or not is up to him to decide. "Just wait. Next year you will have to call me sister-in-law." Matt sneered. "Dream on." I hugged Sarah. She was laughing at us. "Baby, I don't feel well. I want to sleep with you tonight. Don't go home." She smelled so good. Matt was such a waste. "Taylor, stay away from my wife." "No." Sarah sighed. Okay, stop it. Taylor is not feeling well. I don't want her to be alone. I'll stay with her tonight." Matt was furious, but he had to compromise.